Right now, we're going to hear from my good friend Gordon Hill, who's just finished revalidating his A licence with the Welsh FA. Gordon, of course, was a big hero when I was watching Manchester United back in the 70s. And he spent the last 3 decades over in the States, coaching and searching for the stars of the future. I caught up with him this evening when he told me about his latest opportunity for soccer kids over in the States. OK, so Gordon, exciting news. You've got a soccer camp coming up in June. Tell us all about it.
Yes, I've got a lot of talent in the Seattle Northwest area, and I decided to do a pro football camp, soccer camp, whatever you wish to call it. But the talent around, I've got a special guest of Peter Beardsley, if I can get him across because of the COVID. So we're planning it by year, but it looks good. We've got 2 weeks, a week towards the end of June and the first couple of days of July for 2 weeks. And it's a full proper camp. It's a morning camp and an afternoon camp. So it's 10 till 12 and then 1 till 3, Monday to Friday on the 22nd, I think, of June. And it's going to be for a week. And so that the morning sessions will be all technical stuff, and the afternoon will be small-sided games to put everything that they've learned. But we've got young ones coming in, and we've got older ones up to the ages of about 19, 20. You know, some of the college kids that are coming in are looking at the pro camp, which obviously that's one of the reasons why I'm bringing Peter in, is to show them and to let them see exactly what the pro world is all about. And being a morning and afternoon, it's given them a full day, a full week of being a young pro, so to speak. I'm very excited because I've got some lovely fields at a place called Heritage Sports Complex or Recreational Complex in Puyallup. The cost of this is $275 for the full week. You can do morning camp from just do the mornings, and that's $150 per week. But yeah, we're trying to keep the costs low because obviously renting the facility. But the important thing is to get the fields absolutely spot on and in really good shape. And basically, because I'm not associated with any club, so to speak, I can now attract players from different clubs, and it's, to me, that's really good because then I can see a little bit more of the talent that's around the area.
Anybody watching this can pick up the information from the screen, and you've got the prices on there and how to contact you. So I'm just wondering, really, obviously you've done this kind of thing before. How successful are they? And do you find that you're always picking up new talent?
The new talent is there, and yes, we get 1 or 2 that come through that show, the youngsters, especially the youngsters, because the game's catching on for them. The older ones as well, they're pushing. And I think the beauty of it is that now that the United States is now getting into soccer in a semi-professional way, so to speak, with clubs forming, and that's a nice stepping stone for kids that would want to go into the game and then possibly go into the MLS, which sometimes is a closed door. But if you've got semi-pro leagues, and there's a lot of them, and I've got some friends of mine that have got these clubs, they're great for players coming out. And if I get hold of these players, then I can advise them and then show them which way and make phone calls for them and help them get to another level. But the youngsters come in, and I can deal with the youngsters, and then they can go back to their clubs, hopefully a bit better player.
Now, you mentioned all ages, so I'm just wondering if you can give us a little bit of a handle on what's the youngest and what's the oldest. But I'm also thinking you've been raring to go when everything's been on hold for a year. I guess it's the same for the guys and girls. I guess they're going to be raring to go as well.
Well, there has been some type of, shall we say, model to follow. I mean, obviously, you can't go into certain places and masks and bits and pieces. But because the US has done so well, really, in the COVID and having about 76% of everybody covered, we've now gone into what they call phase 3. Phase 3 means if you've been inoculated, then you can actually not wear your mask. But if you go into shops, so to speak, you still have to, which is fine, which is no problem. But I find that I'm now with the youngsters, they've been cooped up They've tried to come out. They've been told not to. One week it's good, next week it's not. But everything seems to be settling down, and a lot of them are raring to go. And there are tournaments that are coming up as well, which everybody wants to go to. And so I've got the camps out there ready. I've got actually the pro camp, and then I do what we call a centre of excellence on a Friday evening locally here, and I've got about 30 to 40 young players, very young. So I go through the spectrum in terms of there's enough room in my camp for young players. I've got 3 or 4 coaches. I've got Peter, I've got myself, I've got my son Sam. So we are capable of handling the youngsters, then the next level, and then the next level. And the beauty of it is the Centre of Excellence goes on all year round, John. So they can train with me, and then they can still play for their clubs and go back to their clubs. And it's nice because the talent there is the young talent is untouched. It's like a clean canvas. So they're not getting any bad habits, so to speak. And that's really been very good. And for the last 5-6 months, I've had that, and it's been very good indeed, because I've followed CDC guidelines, which is obviously which you have to do, and the parents have done a great job of staying indoors. So I don't think the camp will be any different. The young players that are coming in are players that are aspiring to be young professionals, players that are going to college that want to go to another level, really young players that want to see what it's like. So we pretty well much with the youngsters make it a morning session, not the afternoon, because it's too long a day. But if we can give them a morning session for a week, then 9 times out of 10 they're pretty well satisfied, and they're pretty well tuck it out at the end of the week. But very excited about it, because most of the camps have been pretty good. You get say, it's not like the olden days where you used to get 100, 150, 200 kids. You don't need that. But if you get, say, for instance, 20, 25, 30, it's good to work with, and you get to know them. It's like a one-off, you one on, one off, so to speak. So it's really been good. And as I said, this one's exciting because of obviously bringing Peter across. So I'm looking forward to it. I've got quite a lot of people that are interested in it, but I'm also seeing players that want to go to another level. That's it. And I'm quite happy to evaluate these players and give them as much advice as possible. But that's what I am. I'm a developer. I develop young players to go to another level.
It all sounds very exciting, Gordon. Just tell us about the location. I know it's not at your long-term soccer academy, which is up near Detroit, I think. Is it residential insofar that people have got to find their own accommodation, or do you help them with accommodation?
At this moment in time, the camp that we're doing, the pro camp, is not residential, so it's day by day, and it's local, in the Seattle, in the northwest area. And if some people are coming in for it, especially in for it, then we'd help them with the accommodation and find that out. The one in Michigan is really pretty well much there. It's there. It's solid. It's there for the summer, so to speak. The winters are very, very bitter. So it's very hard sometimes to actually have a 12-month program there. But here, it's the weather is very, very similar to the UK, so we can have it during the day. And it's been very, very. The camps I've had before have been really good. You get your players that are really serious, and those are the players that I'm looking at. And of course, I'm scouting for good players for clubs in England. So it's pretty well much a rounded thing, John. It's a 12-month, and there are a lot of towns and villages and little which are Indian settlements or Indian names, which is fabulous. But I've got this one in Puyallup, and it's in Washington, and it's at Heritage. So everybody really looks at it, and they've all got their footballing associations in different places, but they've got little clubs here and little clubs there. So you get together with some of the very good players, and then you get to know what they're about, where they're playing, and it's very similar to anywhere. It's very similar to England. Good talent rises to the top, John. You don't have to go hunting for it. You get the word, and I pretty well get the word that this is a good player, so I'll pop along and have a look at him. I may invite him to come to a training session that I have on a Sunday for older players that want to go into the semi-pro world. So it's pretty well much full, but I can start from 7 years of age right way up to 20, 21. And after that, I think you've got to be very careful because, if they're not making it by 20, 21, 22, then that's an uphill battle for them. But I'll try. Semi-pro teams are coming through. I'll train them and get them into that situation where they can go into that and have trials. I mean, that's all part of developing, and that's what I love most of all.
I've got to say, Gordon, as a football lover, I've got to say to anybody who's thinking about going on this course, I mean, I grew up watching players like you and Peter Beardsley, and it's a fantastic opportunity for anybody who wants to learn how to play football or get better to learn from two of the greatest footballers who played in English football. And it's obviously not too late to sign up. It's less than a month away. So is it filling up?
Yeah, it's filling up, and the word is getting out, and we're not. It's not a case of, well, there's a certain amount of numbers. There's always room for a player that comes along, and there's always ones that want to sign up a day beforehand. I mean, if you've got, say, 15, 20 players, it's always good. If somebody else wants to, we can always make room for a player that wants to play. If a player wants to get involved, a player wants to come, the parents, all they got to do is give me a little shout, send me an email, say, listen, is there room? I'll find room for them. It's not a case of, oh, yeah, I've got room for 20, 30. It doesn't happen that way. I've got room for maybe one or two, and then basically that's it. And then once the first day starts, then you get a nice little group. You know what you're working with. You work with them all week. They come in, they go home, they come in, they go home. And then at the end of the week, you get to know and you ask them where these players are playing and who they're playing for so that you can go along and monitor, which is nice.
It all sounds very exciting, as we said, and I wish I was a lot younger, Gordon. I could come and take part, but I'm on the wrong side of the world and I'm a bit too old. But good luck with it. Well done.
Thank you very much indeed. And, just get in touch with me. Us superstars, as we're called, we're not superstars. We're just normal people that would develop and keep my fingers crossed. I'll find some talent.